Hi, this is Ms. Claywell, and we're starting 3.4, which is factoring higher order trinomials. So we're going to start on our first page of reviewing what we can do whenever we see a factor. First thing we're always going to look for is look for a greatest common factor. So always going to look for a greatest common factor. And then next we're going to talk about what to do when we have two terms. So if we have two terms, this is called a binomial. We're going to look for difference of squares, which is a plus b, a minus b, or difference of cubes. Remember my SOAP, same sign, opposite sign, always positive, or sums of cubes. So if I look at this first one, we see that I have subtraction, and I'm looking to see if this difference of squares or difference of cubes. This looks like it's difference of cubes. So I have a 4x and 1. So that's my a and b. So I do a minus b, a squared minus a times b, and then a b squared. Sorry, this b should be a 1. So that was difference of cubes. The second one looks like it's something squared. So I have 5x and 6, the square root of 36 is 6. So here's my a, here's my b. I do a minus b and a plus b. And my b's are 6s. When I have 3 terms, I call this a trinomial. So when I have 3 terms, that classifies as a trinomial. And we do ACB, then grouping, or ACB tree. Then factor by grouping. So we have an A, a B, and a C. A times C is negative 42. So it multiplies to negative 42, but adds to my B of negative 1, negative 7, and negative 6. So then I'm rewriting this middle term. Instead of negative x, I have negative 7x plus 6x minus 42. I have matching. I get the first 2 and the second 2. I have matching and leftovers. So this is just a reminder on what I do if I ever have three terms. Here I see I can factor out a 3 right away. A times C is 20, but adds to my B of negative 9. I can do negative 4 and negative 5. So I'm rewriting a negative 9x as negative 4x minus 5x plus 2. I can factor out 5x from these, x minus 1, 2x minus 1. I can factor out a negative 2, 2x minus 1. So that becomes, sorry, right out of space at the bottom, my matching and my leftovers. And I can pull down my 3. last one to do is talk about if I have 4 terms. I do factor by grouping. So I look at what these two have. This is an x squared. I end up with an x plus 1. These two have a 5. I end up with an x plus 1. My matching, my leftovers. These two have a 3n squared in common. These two have a 4 in common. So I can pull out my matching of 2n plus 1, and then I get 3n squared plus 4. Go ahead and flip to the back of your notes. So that's kind of a review of how we factor. The rest of the day is factoring higher order. So this is exponents higher than 2 and 3. So first thing we want to do is put the equation in standard form. That means highest degree to lowest degree. Look for GCF and then factor completely. So as we look at problem 1, I see that I am in standard form. Yes, I don't have a GCF. So I'm going to factor completely. I have 3 terms here. With my 3 terms, I can do an ACB tree. So here's A, B, C. A times C is -4. That adds to my B of -3. -4, +1. So this becomes interesting because I want to break up this -3x squared, and I'm going to turn that into a -4x squared plus 1x squared. So it's really important to remember I'm not breaking up just an x, whatever my middle term is that I'm breaking up. I need to write, so if I broke up an x squared, I need to rewrite it with x squared. Now I can do my grouping. I'm pulling out, oh sorry, this is x to the 4th. I can pull out an x squared. I can pull out a 1. So I have my matching and my leftovers. This becomes an x squared minus 4 and x squared plus 1. I look at this and ask myself, can I factor further? I can break this down further into an x squared minus 2 squared. That's difference of squares. So a plus b, a minus b. So I use my methods of what do I do when I have 2. I have an AC. I look to see what I have, and then I factor that further. Here, this is not in standard form, so I'm going to rewrite this in standard form with my highest degree to lowest degree. I see I have 3 terms now. A times C is 24. Well, multiplies to 24, but adds to my B of -14, -2, and -12. So I'm rewriting this center number as a -2x squared minus 12x squared. And then I'm going to continue onward. Pull out an x squared out of my first 2. Pull out a -4 out of my first, or my second 2. So I'm grouping now. Now I have my matching and my leftovers. I see that this is difference of squares again. So I can break that into x minus 2, x plus 2. And this just is my 3x squared minus 2. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start the second video for example 3, 4, 5, and 6.